welcome everybody to the Metal Mike and Candyman's online Dynasty. As you can see, the 2025 season has ended, and it is the end of the season recap show. I'm going to turn it over to Metal Mike so he can talk about his 2025 Nittany Lions.
So, when you introduce my Penn State Nittany Lions, you got to do it right. I am here to talk about my 2025 national champion Penn State Nittany Lions.
See, I figured I would let you reveal that you were the national champions. It's not my place for you to take that honor away from you.
When you introduce my Penn State Nittany Lions, John, it is the 2025 national champion Penn State Nittany Lions. That is right. See, you got a 5-year contract. I was only working under a 3.
Okay.
And in year 1, I got the job done.
Yes, you did.
Start off with running down the schedule, kicking off against Tennessee. This was a slow start. Why? Because it was the very first game playing on this game. So, of course, couple things to get used to, couple things to kind of feel out, all that stuff. Didn't expect to have a by score big win. Okay, this was still a big win because Tennessee started off the year ranked. But with them losing to me, that ended the ranking for them very quickly. Then the following week against North Carolina, was coming in and just dominating them. To look at them and see that they went 1-11, and to be one of those 11 losses feels great. We go to week 3, Texas. Now, I suffered my first loss against Texas. Texas coming into this game ranked number 10 in the nation at the time. I was ranked number 2. And this game was a battle back and forth. It was pretty much I score, they score, I score, they score. And it came down to whoever was going to turn the ball over first was probably going to lose this game. And thanks to a Drew Aller interception, that's what happened. And it caused Texas to win this ball game. But this is how close and very tight this ball game was. Total offense, 473 yards to their 415. 63 plays ran, 62 for them. We go all the way down to penalties. Okay? I will say this. Mistake-free ball on Texas. 2 penalties for 8 yards on me. One of them I know was running into the kicker. Another one I believe was a intentional grounding because of the pressure that their defense was no joke. And they pressured me quite a bit. And the pressure paid off because of forcing that first and only turnover, I believe it was, to the point where, oh no, it was one of the 3 turnovers in the game, sorry. But the turnover that mattered in this game, the Drew Aller interception. So I'm sitting here thinking, crap, I lost. I'm going to fall from number 2. How far do I fall? I only fell to number 5. Not bad. Go out, keep winning, get back to number 2. Beat Oregon 49-3, demolished. Beat UCLA 42-17, demolished. Goose egg for Northwestern at 34-0, demolished Iowa 56-23. And then we get to the game against Ohio State. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, Ohio State, they're going to be tough. This is a big matchup. It was 2 against 3 at the time. So I'm thinking, okay, I may lose this game. But Ohio State, the first 3.5 quarters, it was a cakewalk. I was up 23-7. They get an onside kick, bring it within 9. Tried the onside kick again, couldn't get it, shut it down, and I beat them. Indiana beat them, demolished. Michigan State goose egg on the board for them, and I earned a rivalries trophy, as we will see in a few moments when I present my trophies. 41-0 win over them. Beat Nebraska 48-41 in a back-and-forth game. I thought this game was going to be a lot easier than it was, but this was the test. 48-41, it came down to pretty much who was going to score last, and I ended up doing so. Demolish Rutgers, demolish USC. Or that was the conference title game. Yes, the Big Ten title game against USC. Demolished them to win the Big Ten championship. Then we get into the playoffs. I'm ranked number 1 at this point. And the first matchup was against Notre Dame. And I went up 21-0 very quickly. Going into the early second quarter, I had the ball, thinking I'd go by 28, and they pick the ball off because it pressured me, and I got nervous for a pick 6. 30 seconds later, they rush Drew Aller. He drops the ball, fumble, and this game is very quickly a 7-point game. But at halftime, I'm up 42-14. Got comfortable again. We get into the third quarter, and it's like my defense took a nap and never woke up from that nap because Notre Dame bounced back big. But at the end of it, I end up beating them 49-46. They tried to get an onside kick at the end. Not successful. I win 49-46. So I said to myself, I cannot look past any of these teams moving forward through these playoffs. I know I had one team to beat to get the national title, and that was Miami. But still, can't look past them. Beat them by 8. I was always ahead in this game. They kept fighting back. And by the fourth quarter, they just pretty much, I wouldn't say laid down, but it's almost like they stopped trying. They put up points in the fourth quarter, as it looks, but I was ahead by then. They weren't, they stopped trying. National title game, Clemson very quickly went up 21-9 at halftime. We come out, they scored 14 points and took the lead at one point, but that didn't last long. I ended up scoring 14 points on them consecutively, scored 10 in the fourth quarter. They were only able to put up 7 in the fourth, and then I ended up raising the national championship. 45-30 win over Clemson, and that is thus how the Penn State Nittany Lions became national champions. Now, we got some things to cover because, with that being said, a lot of success came from winning the national championship. We start off with the Blechnikov Award. The Blechnikov Award is presented to the most outstanding wide receiver in college football, and Devontae Ross ends up getting that. We will get to his statistics in a moment. The Maxwell Award is presented to the player who earns the most prestigious accolades in college football, and Devontae Ross ends up earning that one as well. The Walter Camp Award is presented annually to the most outstanding college football player in college football, and that also went to wide receiver Devontae Ross. So Devontae Ross with his own hat trick of awards, but it did not stop there, and there's a reason for that. But first, the Lombardi Award is presented to the nation's top lineman, and Zane Durant ends up earning that award. And then, like I said, Devontae Ross, he did not get just 1, he did not get just 2, he did not get just 3, but he got a 4th award, and that is the biggest award of them all, the Heisman Trophy. And there it is, Devontae Ross, senior wide receiver, Penn State Nittany Lions. We did earn the land-grant trophy, which is the rivalry trophy against Michigan State. Obviously, we earned the Big Ten trophy and the national championship trophy, also the Peach Bowl and the Rose Bowl trophies as well. More stuff to get into here, and that is records. So for the season, we had some records broken nationally and also by school. But first, we're going to do the national records. Drew Aller has broken a national record for the season in passing yards, throwing for 6,125 yards. Devontae Ross Receiving yards, 2,427. Drew Aller also threw for 65 touchdowns, breaking the touchdown passing record. And Devontae Ross for receiving touchdowns at 34. Now we go to the Big Ten. Drew Aller ended up breaking the Big Ten passing yards. Devontae Ross, the receiving yards. Drew Aller also broke the passing touchdowns, while Devontae Ross broke the receiving touchdowns. And now let's go to Penn State itself, the school records. So Drew Aller, he broke the passing yards and passing touchdowns record for the school, while Devontae Ross broke the receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions in school season history. But that's not all when we get over to the games. Now, in game records, Drew Aller, he had a game record for passing for 545 yards in a game. Devontae Ross ended up catching for 279 yards in a game. Drew Aller had 6 touchdown passes in a game, and that is all the records from in a game. Next up, we're going to go to season stats. Some of the players who had a big year this year. So we were about 7 games into the season, and Drew Aller at that point only threw 4 interceptions. And then at some point, things broke down for him. He ends up throwing 16 on the year, but you see 65 touchdowns, 334 completions out of 520 attempts. And he did play all 16 games, throwing for 6,125 yards. We go to our running backs now. You're thinking I was a pretty pass-heavy team, and I was. But Nick Singleton ran the ball 213 times, while Katron Allen ran for 113. Singleton had 979 yards, while Allen had 480. Singleton had 12 touchdowns, and Allen had 9. We go to our receivers. As you see, Devontae Ross, 113 catches, 34 touchdowns, 2,427 yards. His longest catch was a 90-yard touchdown catch. But that's not the biggest touchdown catch of them all. No, because if you go down to Trebor Pena, he had 83 catches on the year for 1,840 yards, and he had a 99-yard touchdown catch, which broke a college football record as well. So he is in the record books for the longest catch in college history. He had 15 touchdowns. A couple other players had some touchdown catches. Tight end Khalil Dinkins had 6 touchdowns for 603 yards, 41 catches. Liam Clifford, wide receiver, had 7 touchdowns on 32 catches, 511 yards. And also the running backs. They went out in the flats, caught some balls. Singleton had 203 catching yards. Allen had 239. Let's go to our defense now. 23 interceptions combined on this defense. Zakee Wheatley led the way with 6 interceptions. Actually, he tied with A.J. Harris with 6 interceptions. DeJuan Lane and Kenny Wosley Jr. both had 3 interceptions. Mari Campbell and Washington II both had 2. And Tony Rojas had 1 interception. Let's get to the sacks, though. Zane Durant, 19.5 sacks. Liam Andrews had 15. Anai White had 13.5. Zuria Fisher had 7.5. Tony Rojas had 5.5. And this one surprised me. Danny Dennis Sutton, arguably one of my best edge rushers. Didn't have the best year, though. 4.5 sacks. And Amari Campbell had 3.5. Caleb Artis had 3. Ty Blanding had 2.5. Kenny Wosley Jr. had 2. DeJuan Lane had 1. Elliott Washington II had 1. And King Mack had 1 sack. For a combined 79.5 team sacks.
Let's take a look at the final top 25. Mike, if you have any comments, you're more than welcome, as you know, to chime in. But there it is. Penn State, number 1. Clemson, number 2, your national title game. Miami, 3. Texas Tech, 4. Baylor, 5. Michigan, 6. Boise State, 7. Notre Dame, 8. Ohio State, 9. USC, 10. Iowa State 11, Oregon 12. Those were your playoff teams. West Virginia 13. I just missed out. First team missed out. UNLV, and I'll stop at Liberty at 15. And just in case anybody wants to see the college football playoff bracket, here it is. In the first round, Michigan beats UNLV, and Notre Dame upsets Ohio State. USC upsets and crushes Boise State, and Baylor crushes Iowa State. In the quarterfinal, the Cotton Bowl, Miami beats Michigan 24-17. Penn State survives Notre Dame 49-46 in the Rose Bowl. In the Orange Bowl, Clemson beats UFC, and in the Sugar Bowl, Baylor beats Texas Tech. We go to the semifinals. Penn State beats Miami in the Peach Bowl 42-34. In the Fiesta Bowl, Clemson beats Baylor 31-28. And then you have your national championship game where Penn State just sticks it to Clemson 45-30.
So going to the top 25 real quick.
Okay.
I want to say this, and I'm not saying this because of the fact that, I'm not just saying this, but I feel like looking at this top 25, Notre Dame should have definitely finished lower. They shouldn't have been in the playoff. Ohio State, they should have finished lower. USC, same. Any team that had about 4 losses shouldn't have been even touching the playoffs. Shouldn't even been considered in a playoff. West Virginia got ripped. UNLV,
thank you.
Liberty, Southern Miss, all got ripped. The other teams that finished in the bottom there with the 4 and 5 losses deserve to be there. There's probably teams in the standings that probably finished better and should be in this top 25. But if I had to pick the teams that got ripped from the playoffs, West Virginia, UNLV, Liberty, and Southern Miss all should have had opportunities in the playoffs. And then the teams that I think should have been out. I mean, again, you look at the standings, the records. They're adding in the playoff records, obviously. So Clemson, they were 13-2 going into the national title game. I mean, do they deserve to be in? Yeah, they probably do.
Yeah, 2 losses, and in the ACC, I could see that.
But I still think Notre Dame could have been replaced by one of the teams that I think considered for the playoffs.
I agree, and I appreciate you saying that and bringing it up. You know, I was hot when I got snubbed. We had that conversation. I was hot, man. Like, I couldn't believe that. One loss cost me everything. My only loss, but that's how it is. I mean, I started unranked and ended up 13th, so that's a win for West Virginia in its own right.
Well, I'm just glad that I got to the number 1 finally. I was battling for that all season and just kept wondering, why am I not number 1? I kept winning. Teams above me started losing. And it took until the end of the season for me to get into the playoffs to become the number 1 team, and I was not accepting anything less than the national championship from that point.
Anything else you want to cover, or do you want to say that's a wrap?
That's a wrap.
All right, so before we go, just going to take one last look for college football history. There are your 2025 Penn State Nittany Lion national champions, beating Clemson 45-30 with MetalMike, the winning coach.
Get used to hearing it.
I think the Mountaineers have something to say about that, but we're definitely going to find out next week on that. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the 2025 season recap show. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Click that notification bell so you don't miss a single drop of content. And if you're watching this on YouTube, head on over to Twitch. The name is the Candyman JH. You can see it on my webcam box. Click that follow button so you can see when I am live. Next episode, we will be starting the 2026 season.